Shout Factory TV, changing the channel.
Inhumans was never intended to be created for motion when we actually wrote it as a comic, but obviously the technology has changed, and I'm a huge fan of the way technology is changing.
We're now taking these classic comic books, modern comic books, and converting them into this Marvel animation process, which just breathes a whole new life to them. And it's just fantastic to see these characters who, you know, I've heard their voices in my head for years, see them come to life now on my computer screen.
Inhumans is a great candidate for Marvel Knights animation because it starts off with like complete story, first of all, so you can follow it from beginning to end. So the full process for Marvel Knights takes about 4 to 5 months to complete. From day one, when we pick a story to use for Marvel Knights, we'll first try and see if we can get approval to use it from the artists and the writers. Once we have that, then we'll go about trying to obtain a comic script. Sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. Some of these projects have been done for a long time now. And as far as comic writing styles go, there's no set style, so all the formats are different. But we try and keep everything formatted the same sort of way. So we'll have the character line and their dialogue and then a little bit of a description, not a whole lot. When in comic writing, you try and be as descriptive as possible so you can get your ideas across or visually explain like what's going on in the picture. So we'll spend a little bit of time formatting the scripts. We'll actually audition actors and I'll write up some character sides, which is pretty much like a description of the character, like physical traits as well as how I imagine them sounding. For example, Crystal, she seems like a pretty average but very down-to-earth sort of character, and she's kind of like an empath, so I would try and look for someone with a bit of tenderness to their voice. She's young, so that too.
Like them, we are products of genetic manipulation and artificial selection. If we become alphas, then we become mules, incapable of reproduction.
We'll hit the ground running as far as boarding process goes. With regular animation, you start off with a storyboard, and you go to an animatic, which is kind of like a moving storyboard with sound. Then you go to animation, and then all those other effects get applied, like fire or smoke. We add a little bit of CG there.
As long as he underestimates us, we'll take that weakness and exploit it.
The artwork we try and use 100%, but also there's this like 25% that we create totally on our own. Like if you'll look at some of the comic boxes, they're all different shapes, and we'll have long horizontals or we'll have like tiny like close-ups, but for filming and telling the story, we might need that shot. And so like, oh, it's this big, we have to make it that big now.
I suspect a direct hit will send Atlantis once again into dramatic upheaval, similar to that which consigned the island to the waves centuries ago.
And then we'll get to adding the voice actors' voices to it to give it life.
Your people await a decision. What course of action do we take against the human?
Then we do music pass and editing, final editing. And then we mix it all, and then voila, done.